And then I'm going to bring this meat assignment up bigger here so we can see it a little better. There, make it a little bigger. Whoop, not that big. Sorry, I'm trying to make it bigger so we can see it. I guess it's going to be there. There, that's a little better. So what you do is you're picking one of these three options. You could do a keynote, a PowerPoint, or kind of a slide presentation. You could even do a Prezi if that's it's kind of a slideshow. Or two, you could create a video or an iMovie, or you could voice over slides, talk about the slides, or you could write it out in a paper. So you do one of these three things, whatever one you would like to do, and then you pick one of these 8 topics. If we are in class, this is a much deeper assignment where each kitchen group would have one of these topics, and then there's more to it than just doing paper or PowerPoint. I actually have you come up in front of class and present. I have you make a visual. I have you do some questions. So it's a little bit harder to do that at home, so I'm just kind of condensing it down because there's a lot of information on meats that we could spend weeks and weeks talking about meat and poultry, but we just don't have the time to focus a lot on it as we want to make sure we get through everything else. So then you pick one of these topics, meat cookery, which would talk about the dry and the moist heat, which cooking methods do you add water to, which ones are just cooked with dry heat, and then what are the proper cooking temperatures. Number 2 is purchasing meat and meat labels. What's on a meat label? What do we look for? How much meat should we buy? Would be that one. 3 is inspection of meat and grading. For instance, the top grade of meat is prime for beef. And then for inspection, before we can buy our meat, they inspect it and then they do an inspection stamp on it, talk about what that means. 4 is types of meats, cattle, beef, veal, which is baby cattle, sheep, little, and lamb, pork, and then different ways you store meat, like how long can you keep it safely in the stored in the refrigerator or in the freezer. 5 is cuts of beef and bone shapes. Each carcass of beef is divided into what's called wholesale cuts, and then all the cuts that are made from those are retail cuts, and then identify the bone types and what meats are tender and less tender from the different parts of the cow. 6 is nutrients. We know that meat has protein, but what other nutrients does it have? And explain why those nutrients are important. 7 is different ways to tenderize meat. The 2 that pop into your head first are probably pound it or marinate, where you soak it in a liquid to make it tenderize. You might remember we had marinate as one of our cooking terms in the first level. And then what meats do we need to tenderize and why should we be tenderizing? And then the last one is convenience meats and processed meats. So there's convenience meats and processed meats are like your meats that you can buy at the deli, or the ones that are processed like a cured meat, or something that you might put in your sandwich at lunchtime. It's probably been processed in some way, so that's what this number 8 would be. I'll come back here. Nobody else joined us. That's all right. I guess I can put my camera back on too. So that's what you're going to work on tomorrow and Wednesday. Like I said, it's probably not going to take you both of those days, but however long it takes you. And then for Thursday, there's just a couple pages about Italian cooking. And then I created some notes about Italian cuisine and culture. You just have to read through those. You don't have to submit anything. And then Friday is the lab. Like I said, any type of meat that you're going to make this week would work, or you could do any type of Italian pasta. I even told last hour Ashton wanted to know if he could use grilling meats. I said for sure, because he said he's going to probably grill some burgers later this week when it gets nicer out.
So that would,
yeah, that would count because that's meat. So anything like that that you think you could help make this week would work. Questions on any of that, Emmanuel? Any questions?
No.
Trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. Oh, now, did you fill out the lab evaluation for last week's lab? The
No.
10X Mexican? Okay, there's a lab evaluation sheet for that. Did you do last week's lab? What did you do? Because I have so many. I can't. Which one did you do? Did you make like tacos or chili or anything, or?
No.